the right way? Or like this? This one? Thank you. Good morning all. Dr. Kucheka, all the faculty members and my friends. Today I am supposed to speak on some very, not very pointed topic, but the topic that you would like me to speak. I can speak on anything except spirituality, that I don't know anything. But I can speak because having spent in government for 34 years, you become, jack of everything, although master of none. And jack can speak on anything. So I would like you people to tell me about what you want to listen from me. Or I decide myself what I should speak. What do you want to listen from me? Pharmacy?
In collaboration with the regulatory bodies.
Regulatory bodies.
Yeah, the global trends that are.
Okay, I'll do that. But that's a good thing. I will just begin with the policy, since that is your Chhatra Sansad is all about. Yeah, please. And you can ask me many questions. Very acute, very pointed, very inconvenient questions also. I won't mind. And I'm not your professor to. And I won't keep any grudge against you because you asked me pointed questions. Because even if I keep a grudge, I can't do anything to you. So be very free. So,
sir, as we all know, today's topic is public policy. So, as you are a retired IAS officer, I want to know what policies are there, but how they are executed efficiently. I want to know the process.
Okay, I'll explain that vis-a-vis the pharmacy world and what the lady said about the regulatory implications of the policies in pharma world. I'll do that. But let me begin with the public policy. And I want to ask you one question before I proceed. The question is that, do you have any example in this country wherein the public policy was proposed by young people, students, and government adopted that public policy and implemented? Can you give any one example? For last 76 years of existence of this republic, is there any example where a public policy was proposed by a student or youth and then it was implemented? Is there any example? Then what are we discussing about? If youth is not involved and if there is not a single example, this all talk, all gas, no substance, all chaff, no grains. If you really want to be part of this republic, if you want to be part of the government, if you want to be a pressure group, then first thing what you have to have is that how you can be a stakeholder in designing public policies. So last 76, 77 years, you are left out. Now, collectively you have to think about how you can be integral part, important part of preparation of public policies. Public policies you all know. I need not explain it to you because some of your friends, colleagues have explained in a very beautiful words what the public policies are, how they are designed, how they are announced and how they are implemented. But unfortunately, the youth is not made part of making public policies in this country and for that matter in most of the world, most of the countries. So first and foremost objective before is that how you can as a youth from the age of say 15 to 29 be part of preparation of public policies. And you can deliberate on this. There can be a nationwide debate on this, nationwide struggle on this, how we can be integral part and stakeholder in the preparation of public policies. This is number one. Number two, how do we make public policies or why public policies are needed? Everyone knows that. To make public policies and to design them and then to convert them into law or some governmental programs and schemes, you can do it. It's a process. And somebody said that deliberate process. I like that word, deliberate process. But Why do you require to have public policies? What is the reason? Basic fundamental reason is there has to be a problem and you address that problem through public policy. Unfortunately, in this country, I don't want to talk about other countries in the world. We are sitting in India, and therefore we must focus our attention on the context of India. Are we aware of the problems in descending order? Number 1 problem, number 2 problem, up to 10 problems. Are you aware what are the 10 topmost problems in this country currently, or those are going to emerge in the near future? And then we must concretize that these are the problems, and then you can start designing the policies. Unless and until we are aware, we are sure about the problems, there cannot be good policy. So the foremost and fundamental requirement of any public policy is the existence of problems and identification of problem. Now, can any one of you tell me top 3 problems in this country? Today, the country is facing top 3 problems. Number 1 is this problem. Number 2 is this problem. Number 3 is this problem. Forget about top 10. 1, 2, 3. What are the problems? Are we problem illiterate? The problem in this country, I'll tell you, we are problem illiterate. In government, in politics, and especially bureaucracy like senior IAS officer, we are problem illiterate. Youth is also problem illiterate. But youth is is not their duty. We as government officers, we are paid to identify a problem. Politicians are also part of the governmental system to identify the problem, and then designing of policies comes much later. But unfortunately for you, let me tell you, and I had taken one survey on my social media post that I asked the people 10 top problems in this country, and unfortunately after 5-6 days I had to announce that we are a problem illiterate country. We do not know the problems, or even if we know problems, some very minuscule kind of thing which do not have a larger impact, societal impact, people give this kind of. Can anyone tell me one problem at least in this hall? Yeah, please. Anyone? Unemployment. That's the number 1 problem? Now I am talking about number 1 problem. To a certain extent, we can buy her argument. Pollution is the number 1 problem. If the problem pollution is reduced, are you going to get easy employment? Is this a problem? Today, the birth rate is almost like stabilized. It's a replacement ratio of the population today. It's not increasing. It is the fertile woman. It is just 1.9. That is the replacement ratio per couple. 1.9 children. That is enough. We cannot kill people now, or we cannot say that we don't marry. So we have achieved the level of the replacement ratio. Although we have not gone to the extent of Japan, Ukraine, Russia, where the populations are falling down. And if these populations fall down, then one day the planet will be having no human beings if that decline in population. And there is one book called Empty Planet, and it gives this theory that if the declining rate in population like Japan, Ukraine, Russia and some other countries, now even USA also, then one day the planet will be emptied. So that's not a very big problem for us. Then what is the problem? Anyway, I leave it to you. You have to identify the problem. The number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then whether government is doing anything for this, whether the national government, whether the state government, or whether at the local bodies level like your Zila Parishad or the village panchayat or municipal corporation, whether they are doing anything or not. And then the youth can tell their pressurize them, okay, this is the number 1 problem and this is what we have to do. And you can suggest it collectively or individually, but as I was part of the 34 years in the government, I have not seen any letter coming from the youth that this is the problem and this could be the problems of policy, this could be the solution. No. So this is entire vacuum. So you have created a vacuum in terms of identification of problems and in terms of providing some solutions. So you are not present in the policy formulation arena. Please convince yourself. You are completely absent from this most important field. So on this Chhatra Sansad occasion, you must tell yourself, I am very important functionary of my country and I need to understand what is the problem, and I will take upon me to suggest some kind of solution that appeals to my mind to governments, either individually or collectively. Unless and until that starts, these Chhatra Sansad kind of exercises will have no impact at all. This is going to be a ritual. The policies have changed this planet. And as all of you know, that the humanity, we began as Homo sapiens 2 lakh years ago. Before that, we were not in existence also. But first policy, this humanity, Homo sapiens, ourselves, we created was around 65 to 70,000 years ago. We started migrating from Africa. We all belong to Africa, East Africa. That was the first policy. Let's migrate. East Africa became overcrowded, less of food, and youth was at the front. Youth started migrating. So that was the first policy on this planet, was forced by youth. Old people did not move from there. Youth started migrating. Then of course, we all came to India. Let's forget about the other words. And then we started Indus Valley civilization around 9,000 years ago. Very science-based society. Very well laid out roads and drainage system and water supply, equal society, no rituals, no caste, no religion, very well doing, and probably the topmost civilizations at that point of time. And in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said that India had reached summit of thoughts 5,000 years ago. So we were the best in conceptualizing the policies and implementation of the policies. And of course, because of some famine or failure of monsoon, Indus Valley civilization vanished, they migrated, and then of course after that Vedic civilization started in, and in 1950 we started as a republic, and now the constitution has become the basic foundation for our policy formulations, and therefore youth are part of that. So this Sansad, Youth Sansad, now is for you to conceptualize, identify, analyze the problems and devise policy and force the government that we are also a strong force to tell you that what policy should be. Not like Apli Bahin or Maji Bahin, or what is that, some scheme is Ladki Bahin kind of thing. Nobody have asked for this. It is not going to solve any problem. Nothing. It's going to solve their problem. It's not going to solve your problem. But it is eating into the finances of the state government and it is affecting everything. So that's a big policy flaw, isn't it? But nobody, you people have not said anything. You accepted it. Okay, chalo, chalta hai. That culture. Now let me, on this point only, and I will end here, how the policies are formulated. Here, Ladki Bahin was not, there was not a single letter from any Ladki Bahin that my brother, please start Ladki Bahin Yojana. There were no morchas, nothing. And they gave 46,000 crores annually to Ladki Bahin. But in 1972, most of you must not have been born also. There was worse famine in Maharashtra, scarcity in Maharashtra. 3 years, there was no rain. All the rural areas and of course a part of urban areas were deprived of water. Forget about the irrigation facilities for crops, and then people were not having enough food. So what to do? That was the right time to give people that, okay, Ladka Kutum kind of thing. The government could have started to give money every month to the people. No. That time, some bureaucrat thought that, okay, we must do something. Then he came up with the idea that employment guarantee scheme. Give them work, get the work done and make them payment. And the work was what? water conservation, soil conservation, roads, that is infrastructure development. Work was given to the needy people. They sustained. They did not migrate to the other states. They also fortified the rural infrastructure through water conservation and soil conservation and roads. Therefore, that became one of the major success stories on this planet. That was the policy. Now, compare that policy where people were made to work and given money to sustain, and here nothing was asked, and yet something is given as Ladki Bahin. So these are the two extreme examples of policies. Now we should be evolving to have real policies, but youth is not doing anything. Youth is silent. Youth doesn't exist. And therefore I think this Chhatra Sansad is meant for this, that yes, this country belongs to us. Our future belongs to us. We are going to have major loans on us. Government is creating huge burden of loans. Who is going to repay it? You are going to repay that. Government is what? Through your taxes they are going to repay it, and one day it will so happen that these schemes will have to be stopped because there is no money going to be, only repayment of loans. So you have to think about the future. I don't want to buy this thing and take your time on public policy. I will go to the pharma world. But let me tell you, don't buy a rhetoric. Do you want to be economic superpower on the planet? Do you want? Is this the right way to say it? Is it right way to say we want to be economic superpower? Or you want to, it will be better to say, we want to become economic superpower once again. What is the right way of speaking? Yes, you should not forget past. Before 1750, India was the economic superpower in this world. About 24% of the world GDP, that is today's United States, which is having 20% of the world's GDP, they are having. We used to have 24% of the world's GDP. When agriculture and to certain extent industry was the mainstay of this planet, we were superpower. We lost that. You must get that supremacy back again. Now to become a superpower doesn't mean that your GDP has to go up and match. No. See, if you want to be superpower, your GDP should not become like USA. I don't want to give you the figures because every assessment is different. Some $1 trillion, some $27 trillion, $20 trillion, and all that. That is the USA. If India surpasses United States GDP, will we be economic superpower? Youth must be very clear about it. When will you be economic superpower? Tell me. You have to surpass the USA's total, isn't it? Isn't it? Wrong. See, considering our population, which is 17 to 18% of the world population, and we have got just $2,800 per capita income, it cannot be economic superpower. If we want to be economic superpower, our GDP has to be the current GDP of the world, $106-7 trillion, as again United States $26-27 trillion. Then we can be economic superpower. So we must analyze and understand what it is. So we have to, what the policy should be, increase the inclusion of all the segments of society, the equality which is there in the directive principles of the constitution, that government shall, as far as possible, try to minimize economic inequality. Being a world economic superpower doesn't mean anything unless we have economic inequality, like we bring in economic equality. That is meaningless. And how to do that? I am just giving the thought to you. You must understand the now real problem this country is facing. Number one problem, sectoral differences. Now what are the sectoral differences? We have about 50 to 60%. Can I have some water? We have about 45 to 50. Some estimates say that 60% people depending on agriculture. How much you are saying? What is your estimate? What is the percentage of population depending on agriculture? 60-65%. Let's take it 60. The GDP coming from agriculture should be how much then? 60%. Today it is 17%. And the rest is coming from services and industries. And that population is just 40%. 40% population is getting about 83% of GDP. That is the disparity. And unless and until we have public policies to dismantle these disparities and we bring sectoral parity, like the dependency of population is equal to the sectoral contribution of GDP. Like for example, USA has only 1% population that is dependent on agriculture, and their GDP is on agriculture, coming from agriculture also 1%. So this is the main challenge before the youth, that you have to bring in you have to dismantle the sectoral disparities and then have the policies which will contribute the GDP equal to the percentage of people engaged in that sector. This is the number one problem of this country. Not pollution. Unemployment, yes. And I don't want to spoil your day by giving you the figures of unemployment and the future of unemployment. It's very scary. The future of unemployment is very scary. I don't want to spoil that. Now let's go to the pharma world. And I will speak in the context of just regulatory aspects of it. As of all of you know, we have this Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rules 1945. You have been taught about that? That is the regulatory framework. And this particular regulatory framework has been amended from time to time, and it is one of the best in the world. Can you sink in this idea? It is one of the best in the world. And the latest amendment in Schedule M, which has been brought in alignment with the WHO GMP. So we are constantly amending that. And why I am saying this, when I had joined FDA as commissioner in 2011, I did not know FDA at all. I only knew medicines. I never knew that medicines are also called drugs. For me, drugs was morphine and all these things, not medicines. That was my knowledge. I never knew pharmacist, what pharmacist is. Why this word should be there, pharmacist, and why he should exist. I didn't know anything. But when I went there, I asked my PA that, what is this job? Normally you ask your PAs now what the job is. So I asked him, exactly sir, your predecessor, one lady officer, she was staying in South Mumbai, FDA office is in BKC. So he said, she comes here, used to come here twice a week, and she used to be there in the office for 2 to 3 hours. That's it, very cozy job for a day commissioner to come to office twice a week, spend only 2 to 3 hours. What else you need? You are getting hefty pay at the end of the month. It's a good life. So I told my wife that I have landed up in a very beautiful job now. I can spend my time with family. Of course, that was jokingly. I never like to have that kind of mindset. Next day, I started taking review about what is happening. To my surprise, since 1940 to 2011, at least in Maharashtra, and Maharashtra is supposed to be the best FDA in the country. In Maharashtra, FDA during those many years, those many decades had not implemented 70 to 80% of all the provisions in the law book. So the regulator failed to implement the basic provisions of law for 6-7 decades. Now you can understand. You have a good policy, and I am saying one of the best laws and enactments in the world. But what is the use of these best enactments in the world if you are not implementing that? It could be like, say, we have a good, nice flower vase in a drawing room. It's nice. But what is the use? It's not giving me scent. Like that, this book, statute book, nice rules, nice laws, nice notifications, and then not implemented. But those were implemented for three important stakeholders. One was manufacturers, second was trade organization, and third was regulator, that is FDAs. What for? To make lot of money. And when I say lot of money, is not money that is legal. Illegal money, bribe money. So implementation of good policies, and you said policy formulation, was there but not implemented. And who was at the receiving end? For whom this law was made? Can you understand for whom this law is made? For pharmacist, for manufacturer, or for trade unions, or for retailers? For whom it is? Patients. Patient was missing. He was nowhere there. Everything was within the domain of just three stakeholders: manufacturers, trade associations, and the regulator. And they were having nice time. I tried to change that. And then I cancelled about 350 notifications with one line. What were the notifications? The laws are made by the parliament, rules are made by the Ministry of Health, and these circulars were issued to water down those laws and rules. And then I said, just two lines, this thing, I hereby, Mahesh Jagde, cancel all these circulars issued before this. Zero. And then implement the law as it is. And I don't know whether how many of you have seen my social accounts, I have my own personal tagline. I act because I must. Because I do it because I wanted to respect Sansad Parliament, like you have this Chhatra Sansad. What law they have enacted, conceptualized, designed, rules they have designed, must be implemented as it is. I did not devise any new law, rule, because I was not competent to do it. It's only the parliament can do it. There was havoc. Trade organizations started, they did not like it. There were 3 statewide strikes and 1 nationwide strike for my transfer. That I must not implement the law. Nothing else. That's the only thing. There are too many things. I am writing a book on that, what I did. And in a short span I cannot tell you. But I began with pharmacist. A basic thing. Now, from the patient's perspective, 2-3 things are very important. Number 1, the patient should get the medicine that is prescribed by doctor only. Until then, 96% sale, and this is documented, was happening without prescription. Then, medicines can be sold only under the signature of pharmacist. That is the law. Pharmacists were absent, and the pharmacists were given rent of that certificate 500 rupees to 1500 rupees, that's all. He was not there. And third, and of course that is not just the flaw of FDA, but FDA can control it. The medicines are supposed to be prescribed as a generic molecule only, not by the trade name. And the bill has to be given for sale. The bill has to be given. Now you will ask, why this thing? If I buy a shirt, there is no law that I should be given a bill. So why medicine? Very important things. This has got implications with resistance and so many other things, and your adverse reactions, drug adverse reaction, all those things. It is with these 4 things. And somehow I got one WHO directive that is called fact sheet, that this AMR, antimicrobial resistance, is increasing only because of the 3 things. Number 1, sale of medicines without prescription. mass scale sale of antibiotics even for diarrhea, because which is not. And Indonesia and India were the countries where 65% cases antibiotics were sold for no reason at all, and that was creating resistance, antimicrobial resistance. And unfortunately, you all know that first antibiotic was salvarsan, isn't it? Salvarsan? You remember salvarsan? And then later came penicillin. And then came so many things between 1942 to 1962. So many antibiotics came, and last molecule of antibiotic came in 86. After that, there is decline in the discovery of new molecules in AMR. But resistance is increasing. Because of what? Indiscriminate use of antibiotics. And in that, absence of pharmacist. After doctor prescribes the medicine, and if you go to USA and any other countries, if you are spending 5 minutes with doctor, you spend 10 minutes with the pharmacist because he advises you. All you know. And the medicines, if you do not continue the course for 5 days as prescribed by doctor, and if you discontinue it after the fever is gone, then it is bound to develop resistance. Secondly, to keep away the fake medicines, and one of the reports of WHO said that in India, 34% medicines were sold were fake, spurious, counterfeit. And then a Mashalkar's committee was appointed. That committee, I don't know why it did not do good job, but it did not do good job. And they did not accept the WHO's. But I still believe there is a lot of material in the market, because for one reason, the bill is not insisted. If bill is insisted, then their chain is traced right up to this retailer, wholesaler or manufacturer. If the bill is not given, then any spurious manufacturer can sell his spurious or counterfeit drug. And which I caught many such cases, that this does exist, and there are so many other things. So I started with pharmacists. I engaged two MBA students from Thane College and asked them to check whether pharmacists exist or doesn't exist. And then of course, that's the history. And then like a pharmacy profession got some, face, and this particular thing was taken about from this. I am told that after your graduation as B Pharm or M Pharm, you get 3.5 lakhs package. Is it? Very good package. Is it good? All of you are going to get that package, or some of you are going to get the package? What is the percentage that you are going to get that package? 10%, 50%, 99%, 100%? 10%. What 90% are going to do then? See, we have got opportunities for pharma students in this country and abroad, and humongous opportunities. Only thing is that the regulator, the government, they have to implement the policies. Unfortunately, the students do not want them to implement it. They do not want money. They want, okay, I have done this thing. One pharmacist which I found, he came to me later on after this thing. And he said, okay, what are you doing? I said, I'm from Sangli. Sangli is a district in Maharashtra. He said, sir, I was a Hamal, porter at Dadar railway station. Now I am getting 22,000 in Mumbai. Can you imagine this? Just implementation of pharma. But I am not on that. What is the size of pharma business in this country? 66 to 77 billion. That works out roughly to 4,71,000 crores, out of which some may be exported, but minimum 2,01,000 crores are sold through 9 lakh outlets. Huge amount. And if 9 lakh outlets, if they are saying, then one outlet is selling on an average worth 22 lakh of medicines every year, average. And as per the rule, which is not anywhere in any other commodity, 16% minimum profit is guaranteed. You cannot, this is the only one sector, medicines, where the profit is guaranteed by law. 16%. So 16% of 22 lakh works out to what? 3.5 lakh per annum. That is the package. Even if you start one medical shop, everybody is assured of 3.5 lakh package. isn't it? Don't you want to be part of this story of 4.71 lakh crores of business? You can do that. Of course, I'm not saying that you start business and you aim for this low thing. But for those 90% who are not going to get job, this is also available. But I'm not on that. World is changing, and I do have some friends to various circles. Oriental world, like Japan, Western world is aging population, and they have a lot of demand for pharmaceutical graduates, postgraduates, and doctoral thing for right from degree diploma holders. They do not get required qualified personnel there. You can think of that, but we do not want to go out, unfortunately. I was in Japan, and they are deprived of pharmacists. Only impediment, barrier is the language. But Pune University has started, they have started one course on this thing. MIT might as well start. So, if you explore, there are opportunities all across the world. And the world is changing now. This pharmacy is also, the days are numbered. Make hay while the sun is shining. The world is moving with the fourth industrial technologies, not just AI, from treatment based to no ailments, no disease, no sickness kind of technologies. So the whole scenario is changing. No big manufacturing pharmaceutical companies. There will be technologies that will keep you healthy, less of medicine. Forget about the individual medicines, tailor-made medicines, and then gene-based medicines and all those things, or your CRISPR-Cas9 kind of technologies getting used for mRNA and still RNA changes and all that. Forget about that. That is also there. This would be there. Or then AI labs. Now you don't have to make titration and then see how molecule behaves and all that. Only it used to take about 10-15 years a molecule to discover, develop and market and clinical trials and all that. Now it's a question of few months also. But beyond that, a world exists where even that will also not be required. You should be prepared for those kind of technologies. You have to shift from treatment based to prevention of any kind of ailment that is going to develop. And corporations, big companies are spending billions of dollars on these technologies. We should not be just running after them. We Indians we run after them. What is happening in the world? Let's adopt that. No. We should be at the forefront. Not just to say AI. World is moving beyond AI. So we have to think about that. When the Pegasus happened, Pegasus intercepted mobiles of senior politicians and bureaucrats, world also, Pegasus has come now, whatever it is. But at that time also, there were even superior such kind of softwares available in the market. But we knew only Pegasus. Pegasus that time was a very minuscule kind of thing, but still we are scared. Now in AI also, the kind of technologies they are using is now to minimize the ailment and extend life. So, policies that you are going to have, should have, is about design policies for the future to earn money. This country needs money, and today we are about 14th in terms of value of pharma. We are also called pharmacy of the world. But 14th in terms of value, of course, third in terms of volume, because 20% of generics we are manufacturing for the world, 60% of vaccines we are manufacturing. That's good. But this is very labor intensive kind of jobs. In the future, even doctors will also not be needed if these technologies emerge, and they are emerging very fast. And some of the predictions, of course, I don't go by these predictions, that by 2045, death will be optional, elective. Such kind of technologies are getting generated. Maybe not 2045, 2070, 2080, but it is world is. Ears and eyes and everything, all faculties should be tuned towards the future to have policies. Otherwise, we are also going to get dragged. From the first industrial revolution through second, third, fourth, we are getting dragged after the world. We should be India, which was there prior to 1750, we were the leaders. Why can't we be leaders? How many minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. I'll come to two cases which, of course, in FDA, I did too many cases. I'll just come to two very important cases which I handle, and one is part of the book called Johnson & Johnson Files India Story that is published, and there is one chapter 10, FIR number 435 of 2011. You know Johnson & Johnson? The best company in the world, isn't it? The best company. Because that time in 2010-11 it was $100 billion company, number one pharma company giant in the world, number one. And even they used to talk to only Dr. Manmohan Singh and Dr. Vajpayee Vajpayee and Bush and Clintons and all that. They never looked down, everybody else was just nobody for them. I joined in 2011, August 2011, FDA, and started taking review what complaints are pending. Because if you want to understand the department, you have to see the complaints. So that was my basic of what complaints. One of the complaints was that the patients of hip joints, one patient had complained that I am suffering from hip joint manufactured by Johnson & Johnson subsidiary called DePuy, ASR hip joint, and it is giving immense pain, so please do something that this product is defective. So I asked my officers, my joint commissioner, subordinate officer, that why this complaint is pending, why my predecessor has not tackled. He said, yes, sir, it's a big company, they will not do anything wrong, must be patient is suffering from something else, and patients have habit of writing to FDA for such nonsensical things, and that's all, just forget it, let's file it, close it. I was not satisfied. I called the patients through, drug inspector, I asked him to, the patient was not in a position to speak. I then talked to her, patient was lady, Parsi lady, her daughter. She explained to me that she is in immense pain, but we cannot do anything. Then I tried to find out what exactly is that. I told the doctor, asked the doctors what could be the reason. Doctors also said, no, nothing wrong. This all happens. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't fit. So everybody was supporting Johnson & Johnson tooth and nail. So I was not satisfied because the kind of pain they have explained in this thing. Then another complaint came, that was from Nashik. The man said, my father died and he brought that DePuy joint after his funeral. He took it out and said, this is the thing which killed him because of pain. He could retrieve that joint. Then I was very, uneasy. I tried to find out the antecedents of this thing. So these joints were allowed to be imported in India. Permission was granted by Drug Control General of India for import. And 4,600 such joints had been imported in 2009. And all were fitted in the patients through major surgeries. But that time internet had started. I went on net and then tried to find about these DePuy hip joints. To my surprise, this hip joint had leaked cobalt and was giving a lot of pain. It was leaching cobalt into bloodstream. There is nothing that one can do. So I went again further. I saw this Australian regulator had withdrawn its permission because of this only. Americans, they did not allow to fit in. Many European countries, they also did not allow them to market. But in spite of that, Indian regulator, and you asked me about the regulator, allowed its import. The defective thing, are we not human beings? It's just money. And just because it's a big corporation of $100 billion, they allowed. Then I wrote to DCGI that you did this thing. Then DCGI did not write me back. When I went to Delhi for some meeting, he said, don't break up this issue. That earlier person must have given it. That time I said, no. When the information is available on this thing, in internet, that the product is defective, why did you allow? He said, forget about that, and he somehow. I called that company after coming back to Mumbai. And I said, Some of the products which were fitted in USA, not officially but unofficially, they also had same problem, and then you gave them compensation, did these surgeries, and in India you are not doing anything. You recall all your hip joints, 4,600, and then tell me, otherwise I am going to take action against you. One small municipal FDA commissioner in a third world country like India and $100 billion company, they said, nothing doing. We are not going to do it. It's not our problem. The problem will be of the patient. I tried to convince them, then they sent me one senior lawyer coming from Delhi Council. He said, if you do anything, we will take action against you. We will sue you that you are tarnishing the name of Johnson & Johnson. I said, but this is what is happening. He said, nothing doing. Please don't do anything. Then I lost my talk. I called a meeting of those people. I said, see, I need this thing to be done. Otherwise, I am going to file police case FIR against you and not you, chairman of Johnson & Johnson. Now to file FIR against a person who only talks to Bill Clinton and Manmohan Singh, you can imagine the... Then they said, okay, we'll try to, find out the patients and all that, and we'll appoint one company to trace them. I said, tracing is very easy. Within 2 days you can trace, because this is a major product. Product is sold by your company to distributor to hospital, and you exactly know which are the patients. For 3-4 months they did not do anything. Then they started bringing pressure on me. Now pressure you can understand. Political pressure I was used to handle, but they got bureaucratic pressure from me. My own boss, sitting in, like state secretariat headquarters. Mahesh, do you want to drive away all the multinationals from India? I said, why are you saying this? He said, you are taking action, you are threatening action against us. I said, see, my 4,600 patients are suffering. What I want is that replace those hip joints and give them compensation. Otherwise, it is like what? Are we not human beings? He said, no, it's a big issue and you don't do anything. I tried to convince my own staff. They were also reluctant to cooperate with me, because they were also involved. They should have taken the action. My predecessor also called me and said, sir, nothing, it happens, don't do anything. But I did not relent. I collected all the data, got one team from FDA itself of right-minded people, created a case and called the concerned police inspector from Mine police station. He came to me. He heard all that. He said, I am convinced, but my senior will not be convinced. I said, go and talk to them. Then he came back and he said, no, this is your case. We will not allow it to be filed because it pertains to Johnson & Johnson. Then I called his DCP. I said, I will go to court now and I will involve police and I will go to the court that police are also supporting Johnson & Johnson and FIR should also be filed against police. So DCP said, no sir, let me talk to somebody. I don't know to whom he talked to, whether he talked to police commissioner or his joint CP or somebody. Then next day he said, okay, you send your people. And in November 2011, I joined FDA in 12th August 2011 and we filed FIR in November 2011. In such a short span of time, it takes decades to file a case. We could file a case and then the hell broke loose. That one case, first of its kind, against Johnson & Johnson, monstrous big giant of the world, pharma world, FIR was, criminal FIR was filed. Then to wriggle out of that, they sold their subsidiary Depot to some other company. That we do not, and they make backdated documents and they sold it off. Of course, investigation went on, but I did not stop there. Because it was the DCGI, Drug Control of India's national, my boss, he allowed the import. I wrote my chief secretary that this is the fit case to be action taken against the DCGI, because he allowed defective power to be imported and CBI inquiry must be started. See, normally officers do not write CBI inquiry against their own superiors. I sent the letter. And fortunately, my state government also sent it to Delhi. Yes, CBI inquiry must be conducted in this because it involves the Government of India officials, other officials, and private citizens and all that. But you know that in Delhi, CBI and all they are together, so till today nothing has happened. Then many other cases happened and I was initially transferred, but the patient started getting then compensation. That is the big thing in this. And today patients are getting compensated because of this. But after that, the protocol was that no defective such gadgets or medicines which are new are allowed to be imported before they are not, unless they are tested properly. This was one case, and that has created some kind of history, regulatory history in India. Second was of course cosmetics, same company. And I think if time is over, let's have a question and answer. I think that will be better because I have got too many things to be covered. Anand, any questions?